and caused over $1 million in damage. When it was over, 62 families, including those of 3 firefighters, were left homeless. The fire appeared to have started in the wall or ceiling of the common space between the 6th floor ceiling and the roof in an area known as the cockloft. The firefighters were hampered in their initial attack efforts because the rear roof area of the building where the fire started was virtually inaccessible.
The report of fire was from a tenant next door who came home, said, "I think the building next door is on fire." The street that it was reported on is lined on 2 sides with 6-story, mostly ordinary apartment buildings, packed pretty tight together. When I got there, we had a large volume of smoke in the street, indicative of a pretty good fire going. But a volume of smoke, I called a working fire right off the bat, which started a mutual aid process going.
This request for mutual aid was answered by 8 other departments who responded to the scene, and by 6 others who were utilized as standby companies. The operation saw a number of paid, combination paid and volunteer, and full volunteer departments working together. Hartsdale was assisted at the scene by departments from Greenville, Fairview, Yonkers, Scarsdale, White Plains, Dobbs Ferry, Elmsford, and Irvington. Departments standing by included Ardsley, Elmsford, Tarrytown, Valhalla, Hawthorne, and Hastings.
My wife woke me up. It was approximately 3:20 in the morning. She was up, she heard the sirens, then somebody rang the doorbell. She came right in and woke me up, told me, I think something's wrong here. So I got dressed right away and I went out, met the IC in front of the building, and found out that we had a serious situation going on there. I went right into a primary search because as superintendent of the building, keeper of the keys, smartest thing was to go in and just start opening up the doors and checking for occupants.
Well, when we first got there, they told us to go to the roof and start with trench cuts. When we got there was a lot of fire. Everywhere we put the saw on the roof, there was fire. We cut 1 trench, and the fire was already jumped past it. So we started cutting another, cutting the parapets, cutting the dumbwaiter shafts. We cut everything, and there's fire everywhere.
It was a T-shaped building. Across the street side was 150 feet, back 50 feet. The lower bar, the bottom bar of the T was another 150 feet backwards. It was 8 stories in the back, 6 stories in the front, with absolutely no access other than the front street side of the building. At 3 points we tried trench cutting. We gave it 3 down-home shots at trenches, and it beat us each time. We eventually backed out, and we had to wind up waiting for it to come to the front so we could get it.
After Carl Bauer successfully got everyone out of the building, he reported to Hartsdale Engine 170, already on scene, where he took up his duties as pump operator and was immediately faced with the task of supplying Yonkers Tower Ladder 75 with water for the master stream.
First of all, it was a unique situation all the way around. I never fed a tower ladder, and just the hookup to my engine was completely different than we usually do in our SLPs in Hartsdale. Normally we supply by a 4-inch hose. In this situation, I had 2 2.5s hooked into the pump, and like I said, it's the first time I've supplied a tower ladder. Basically, we do a ladder pipe operation with a straight stick, so I basically went with what I knew to do with that, and using a little bit of common sense, I augmented that into the operation of a tower ladder.
We had 5 tower ladders, aerial devices in operation across the front of the building. Meanwhile, we had interior crews going up, working ceilings, working downward. And the whole thing was a balancing act of exterior work, shut down your exterior work, go to interior work. When it started growing on you, you're back to exterior and so on.
And started dropping into the 6th floor. So we were operating below the 6th floor level, shooting up through the ceilings into the cockloft. In fact, we pulled some of the ceilings with hooks because there was a lot of heavy wire lath in there. It's tough to get through with the water stream. So after we punched a bunch of holes through, we started operating in below the 6th floor, shooting up into the 6th floor, into the cock loft area.
When you're putting that volume of water into it, I think they had 250 pounds pressure coming in. You're throwing in close to 1,000 gallons a minute just from that one stream. Like I said, they had 5 in the front of the building and 1 in the rear, so you're talking about a heavy volume of water.
After exterior knockdown, interior attack was made on 3 fronts in 2 wings of the building. Extinguishment required complex coordination of both the interior and exterior operations. Interior attack teams utilized 3 2.5-inch and 6 inch and 3/4 lines for their work. Fire damage was confined to the 5th and 6th floor as well as the cock loft area. The remainder of the building suffered extensive water damage. A total of 7 engines, 6 trucks, 2 masked service units, 2 ambulances, and approximately 150 personnel were required to effect extinguishment. County arson investigator Joseph Butler and Hartsdale Fire Chief Walter Schoonmaker said the fire was not suspicious. Because of the extensive damage, the actual cause may never be determined.
You know, it's kind of unique being in that situation, being on both sides of the coin, being a firefighter and fighting in your own home and winding up homeless at the same time.